Hello, everybody. This is Nasira, the energy architect. And today I'm here with Anja Schwarz. She's joining us from Spain. She is one of the authors of the book Women with Healing Gifts, which is trending at #1. This is by Action Takers Publishing, headed by Linda Sunshine West and Sally Green. Um, Welcome, Anya. I'm so happy to have you here today with us.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It's so
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you. It's an honor. And it's trending at #1 right now. How do you feel?
I still can't believe it. I write a chapter of a book and then it's kind of out of my hands, and all of a sudden it's at #1. So how wonderful, how terrific is that?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Hmm?
So I'm going to give a very small introduction about Anya. Um, the name of her chapter is Me, Myself, and I. Anya is the creator of Fountain of Color Empowerment, an intuitive balancing modality focused on assisting highly sensitive people and empaths in systematically taking care of their own well-being and keeping up their vibrant energy to serve the world. Anya?
Right. Yes. So my passion lies with empath and highly sensitive people because I'm highly sensitive myself. I am an empath, and I know the trouble you can go through when you feel the world on your shoulders.
Hmm. I understand. And it's very easy as an empath to get involved in everybody else's emotions and feelings, and then finding yourself and keeping yourself on track. Sometimes you have to really stop yourself. So how is it that you handle that?
Well, the thing most people want is we're living in a time where we want to be more aware. When we're more aware, we also become more sensitive. And, it's kind of logical, but not really obvious for everybody. So when you're highly sensitive, you feel things very profoundly, very deeply. And then there's different methods you can deal with it. You can wish that you would go back to your old self, which mostly is possible in the beginning when you become highly sensitive and more aware. And later on, that is not possible. So you go higher in your energy, and then you feel anxiety, you feel hyperactivity, restlessness, in the end, sleeplessness. But many people don't go that way. They jump into a soul level where you feel compassion and empathy. So empathy is actually that you feel how someone else suffers, the pain that can be emotionally, that can be physically, that can be mentally. And in the beginning, you ask yourself, is that really mine? It's so strange. I never thought this way. I've never felt this way. And then at one point, you know that it's someone else's. And then you think, oh, I have to protect myself. I don't want to take this on. According to my understanding, protecting is, first of all, not possible. And secondly, not really necessary. Because in order to take on someone else's pain, let's just say pain, you have to agree to take on that pain.
Yes, with permission. Yes.
Yeah. So you have to find the point where you give permission to take on someone else's pain. Very, very often, this is old-fashioned wiring, because when we used to live to survive, we just wanted everybody to stay alive and we wanted to help everybody.
Yes.
So this is a kind of imprinted behavior a habit that we should change. But we have to be aware of it, of course.
Yes. Because I don't think we're really asked to question how it affects us. All we've been taught is that you are a better person if you go and if you take away someone else's pain. For some reason, that was, encouraged, applauded, and it was labeled as being the good person.
Right. And it still is when you're on body level. Then you can like magnetize, you can take away pain from other people. But once you come into the developmental stage of individuality, you have to discover your boundaries. And this is not what we learned from our parents because they were mainly in survival mode. So that's why it's so difficult for everybody to find out what they're doing, why they're doing it. And also, I found many people just get weird kind of illnesses the doctors don't have names for. And then it's just energy from other people. So being aware what you're doing and how you're doing it is very, very important. And then not only being aware when you have the energy and you know, oh, this is not my headache. Like I used to go meet friends, and then at one point it was like one had a headache, and when we parted, the friend who had a headache didn't have a headache anymore, but I did. So I knew it was not mine. And what am I doing with it? You know, going home, drinking some water, taking a pill, whatever. But the best would be not taking it on. So this is what I've been thinking about for a long, long time. And then I developed a kind of clearing system, going through different layers and going through different methods, topics, and clearing all the energy I find from other people. Like just to mention a few is chakras, meridians, just the body itself, the organs that pick up other people's energy. What else can I think of? I can't think of anything else at the moment. Anyways, it's profound system where you find other people's energy, and then there is like 3 different methods. Either you take it on top of your own energy, or you exchange the energy. And when you're overwhelmed yourself, it could be that you lose the energy. So that's the 3 different possibilities you have.
Mm-hmm. So in coaching, we have this thing. This is what my mentor had taught me. To be engaged, but disconnected.
Right. That's a way of saying it. But, still, how do you do that?
Yeah. It's very difficult.
So
it takes a lot of practice.
Right. It takes a lot of practice, and you probably still end up with other people's energy at points. What I've found is up to 20 places with other people's energy, you don't lose yourself. And if it's more, you really lose yourself. You don't know who you are anymore. I once had a client who had more than 200 places with other people's energy. And it started quite early in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So he lost himself completely. He didn't know who he was. And after we cleared everything, he could really think clearly and focus. And that was completely new to him. So it's, it is quite bothersome.
Yes, I mean, I completely agree with that. Also because, you are an empath, and you understand energy at not at a superficial level, but a very, very deep understanding of energy, its modalities, how somebody's energy can affect you, and how your energy can affect others, this exchange of energies and replenishing energies. Okay, you have a very, very deep, profound understanding of this. Uh, you also speak about body, soul, mind, and spirit.
Yes,
And you talk about trauma or pain, which is stored in any of these levels, and the way you go about clearing them. So would you like to speak
right,
about that a little bit?
right. First of all, actually, personal development should be fun. You know, if you want to find a problem, you'll find a problem. If you're the happiest person and you want to find a problem, you'll find a problem. I promise you.
Yeah, you're looking for it.
So in personal development, if you want to find a problem and you kind of go looking for problems, of course you want to catch the root cause. So the root cause of the problem can be in one of these four territories, and that's body, soul, mind, and spirit. Now, the thing is, in different languages, body, soul, mind, and spirit are defined differently. Like spirit and mind and soul, they kind of get mixed up.
Yeah.
While the body is, well, our physical body, that's mostly clear. So first of all, if you define body, soul, mind, and spirit, that's the first thing I did, was, okay, body, material body, clear. Soul is the emotional energy and is the soul reincarnates. So the soul never dies.
Yeah.
Then the mind is the thing when you want to meditate that keeps thinking and wants to understand things. And that's what our intelligence is about, the IQ. And then you have the spirit, which I define as the protection and the uniting of body, soul, and mind. So once you have the definition, you also can think about the balancing methods, which are different in the different territories. So if you have the body, you want to be aware of where it comes from, and that's usually from ancestors or your own life. Then you kind of loosen the energy can get out of your energy, but you have to fill the void. If you forget to fill the void, it's just going to be clogged up with something else, and your work was in vain.
Mm.
The soul is the easiest of all. You just have to have the experience of feeling the emotion, and it's balanced. You can let go the energy. The mind wants to understand. As soon as it understands, I usually hear like a click and it's going. So that's nice. And then you have the spirit. If the spirit has a problem, it's usually, the root cause is usually in body, in soul, or in mind. And then the protection layer is damaged. So then you have to go to the root cause in combination with the spirit and balance both. And once you balance the root cause and think about balancing, or you have the intention of also balancing the protection layer, it usually happens. So that's very, very important.
So we're talking about empathy, compassion, mindfulness, and balance.
Right.
And
Right.
how often is it that somebody can be completely aligned in your body, soul, mind, and spirit? Do you find people like that who are completely aligned, or do they have to be some saints or something like that? Some higher souls. How does one
Well,
attain that?
I believe, first of all, people come to me because they're not aligned. So, it's difficult. I don't meet people who are that aligned. You can be happy already when you're aligned in one thing for a certain time, because it's always what you're focusing on that comes forward, right? So even if you have a broken leg and you're emotionally balanced, you can be quite happy. So is that completely aligned? No, I don't think it's completely aligned. But in the end, aligned means happiness, right? We should do everything happy and with joy.
So you
So
actually,
it depends a bit on the definition completely aligned. If you mean like the body is completely aligned, the soul is completely aligned, the mind is completely aligned, and the spirit is completely aligned, I think we in this kind of society where we are living in, we're not that developed yet. That's what we're going for. Maybe in the next life.
yeah. And it also, the spotlight, for me, my takeaway from this would be that you need to constantly keep working on yourself and your thoughts. Because
Yeah.
if you are to be emotionally more evolved, your perspective and perception of life changes. And that seems to be that connector, between all of them to some extent. So you are constantly working on yourself, uh, the conversations that you have with yourself. Um, and is that something that you would recommend? Is that something that you do see, the connection?
I believe that, it's like an evolution.
Mm.
We are developing. So we're living in the time of individuality. What does individuality mean? The first thing it means is, who am I without my family?
Mm.
So the body has the information from your ancestors in its DNA. So DNA can be changed with positive thinking. So there comes the mind again. But all in all, down to 7 generations back, you can look for traumas that your ancestors had. Like for me, it was in the beginning a lot about the Second World War. Of course, my grandparents were living in the Second World War. They had bad times. My parents were born just before the Second World War, so they were small children. And that had a lot to do with my body. That information was stored in my body. So my mom was in Hamburg as a 2-year-old, and whenever she was, I don't know, she woke up in the morning a few times and saw the whole city burning. So that's what she remembered. And when I was working on that, I saw that picture. And it's not like, you just balance it. No, it comes back because it's been so traumatic. And well, then you balance from your ancestors, the things they have experienced and that have been a trauma. And once you've done that, back 7 generations, and like parents are quite heavy, 6 generations back, that's not that heavy. That goes like, you know, you only have a bit of energy, because if you think how many people got that energy from your great great grandmother or great great grandfather, there is a division. So the further back, the easier usually it is to clear, unless it's really very traumatic. Then it could be, it feels like a little hook, and that's difficult to release. And when you've done all the work with your family and you think, okay, where do I have to look for the root cause of what's coming up? Where do I have to look? Where's the biggest entrance for my next problem? And the ancestors don't come up anymore, which would be the body level, and you go more to soul and the mental level, then you've done pretty well already. And if you clear your body from ancestral pain, ancestral traumas, you also clear that not only for yourself, but you also clear that for your kids. It's like Back to the Future.
Right.
You clear it in the past. You clear it, like, you know, the issue of fire. I cleared that with my mother. The energy came to me, and then it went on to my kids, and they don't have that picture in their DNA anymore, or the information, let's say it that way. So, and I think in order to be aligned, this is the first thing you have to clear: the ancestral energy.
That is so
Does
amazing.
that make sense? Yes.
Absolutely. Because what I'm told is there is one person who comes in that, in the ancestors, who comes in to clear that, so that, you know, the generation going forward does not carry that. So they kind of undo that. Okay, they come in, they're born to undo that. And I think that introspection and the clearing of the energy and clearing and understanding and getting really deep inside, you know, that trauma and that pain, and arranging them in order, putting them back in order, that is the biggest task. And they clear that for the generations to come.
Right. And they can go, like, we're going more into soul level. We have to open our hearts and stuff like that. You know, you hear people saying that. And it's not that easy.
No,
you know,
it
if I tell you you have to open your heart, are you going to open your heart within the next few minutes? No, you're not. Then, first of all, these deep, profound emotions come up, and we have to find a way to deal with it. So what I found a good way is reading fairy tales, because emotions in fairy tales are, like, you know, very strong. They are told in a way that they are very strong. It's like either you hate or you love, you know? So that's a very good way to practice emotions. And little kids or children are still a lot in their soul energy when they come here, at least the first 7 years. So they can train their emotional intelligence just by feeling fairy tales. So I think this is genius.
It is. I've never heard that before, but that is so profound. I am not going to forget that.
Well, I'm probably the one who's going to read stories or the fairy tales to my grandchildren if I ever get one.
And I'm pretty sure you're going to tell them in your own unique way. And you are going to completely rewire their brains, just like how you do for so many people who reach out to you to help them understand what they're going through. Physical trauma, emotional trauma, and this baggage that they've been carrying, them absolutely not understanding where it's coming from. And I can see that you don't work on any kind of a superficial level, but your work is very, very deep. So you really go to the core of the problem.
But the thing is, I'm just a lazy person. I don't want people to come back for the same thing over and over again. I want to take the root cause and then, go on. And usually when sometimes work that you do for 10 minutes can last a month in realigning the energy.
Mm.
So that's what I want to do. And I've heard usually intelligent people are very lazy. They always find the best way. So that was my aim.
I'm feeling better. I'm trying to say I'm lazy as well.
Very good.
Well, okay. So, um, how is it that you like when people come to you, how is it that what do you call this method?
Okay. I my first intention is the fountain of color empowerment, and that is what is important about it is, first of all, the differentiation I've been talking about, and secondly, get to the root cause. What I'm busy with at the moment is a kind of game, like a Mario Kart for light workers, because the different territories, body, soul, mind, and spirit, have different points of view and have different tasks. So I put the tasks together, and then if you want to find a problem, you say, okay, where do I have to go? Do I look for the root cause in body, soul, mind, or spirit territory? And then you get one, and I've defined, I think it's about 700 little squares with tasks you can do. And then you get to one square, and then it says, okay, your liver is out of balance. You have to work with your anchor. And then what you have to do yourself is check. In order to check, you need a method to get in contact with your subconscious. And the best methods, intuition is good, but it can be manipulated quite easily. So I would use either pendulum dowsing or muscle testing, which you can, it takes practice, but you can learn that. And then you can find out when it happened. And once you know, okay, like 3 months ago, my liver went out of balance. Oh, I was so angry at my sister. So that needs to be balanced then. Usually, when you have like the time frame, you know what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is what I'm working on at the moment. I'm using it. I'm trying out things with people who come to me and say, okay, do this and this. And sometimes it works, and not everything is quite ready yet. So not every time I have the perfect answer. Then I have to say, okay, let me sleep on it. I'll
Yeah,
tell you in the morning.
there's a lot of complicated clearing as well. I'm sure it's not as easy as you say it is. And the toll it has on you as a healer, I understand that it is so easy to pick up other people's energies, and it's not easy to explain as to why sometimes you need to be a little disconnected. And as a healer, I also agree that your job is to heal them and to take them on the path, but at the end of the day, it is also their responsibility to follow through and to continue on that path.
Yeah, right. So there's always a part of the responsibility that you have to give back. Like 20 years ago, when someone would come to me and they'd have like a full sheet of problems, because I always say, put everything on the list. Even if you hate yellow, I want to know about that because it does have a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It does not seem to be very important to the person, but, or I hate salty stuff. I love sweet stuff. Now, that does have a meaning
Right.
because you can see in what kind of direction you're going. The sweet stuff is like inner child, individuality, pancreas, stomach. It's all the third chakra level.
Your third chakra. Okay.
Pardon?
You
Well,
said
the
the third chakra.
pancreas, yeah, the pancreas is in your third chakra, right?
Right.
So that's where sugar goes,
So I was just connecting it to my own pranic healing practice, and I was trying to
right?
understand it from that perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you say?
Uh, I would say yes. Um, but I had never associated it with a taste. It would always be with a
Okay.
feeling, but not with the quality of the taste. Maybe even the color.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sweet balances sadness. So if you're sad, you want something sweet to, comfort you. And like salty balances fear. So if
Ah,
you're living in fear, you go for salty stuff to balance the fear inside you.
oh, wow. Okay.
And sour is for the anger, and bitter is for the heart, which has actually all three emotions.
Okay.
So if you watch what people eat and what they like, you already see what kind of chakra they're working on.
Mm,
So if
okay.
someone says, okay, I'm more the salty person, then oh, there's fear in the background.
Okay. I don't think I'm ever going to look at chakras the same way because that's a completely new angle that I saw today,
Okay.
thanks to you. And my God, we could just go on forever, can't we, Anya? Because you
Right. I
are this
have a lot of information for
ocean.
you.
You are this ocean of knowledge. And
No,
I'm
thank
sure
you.
that everybody who comes in contact with you will always learn something more because that's the way you touch people. They will learn something more
Thank
about
you.
themselves, about people
Right.
around them, about their own lives, about themselves, and about others.
And about others, yes. Well,
Yeah,
the big problem right now for the people is that they become more aware, they become more sensitive, and they jump into empathy without knowing what they're doing, because we used to live in a different way and we're not used to living with empathy, with feeling other people's emotions. So we're kind of overwhelmed with what's happening right now.
right.
And you just need tools and you need to be aware. And it's coming earlier and earlier. If you think officially, it's like, around their 40s and 50s where this kind of energy starts. If I look at the generation before, like my parents who would be in their 80s now, it would start like with 70, 75, where people get health issues, right? And that's usually when they come into soul energy. Now,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not in a survival mode right now, it happens earlier. And even children are on a soul level. Some children are on a soul level already, these indigo children that have to show the world the way.
Yes, I've heard about them, the indigo children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Anyways, I could go on and on and on
and
and
I could listen forever.
on.
So I want to ask you, there are some gifts that you would like to give away to people who buy the book. So what would that be?
Um, For the people who buy the book, well, I have a little series of do-it-yourself with kind of energy work. I have do-it-yourself intuition leads your way, how to formulate a perfect intuition. I have do-it-yourself live with passion. Right. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
And I have a video where I show people how to work with a pendulum.
Mm.
So that's 3 choices people can make. And I think it'll help to get on with their personal development, to just get a step further.
Yeah, it's just a start actually. And there's so much more to do. That's like limitless, how much you can work on yourself and evolve
That's
every day.
right. Right.
Beautiful.
But at
Absolutely.
one point, you're going to be, you're going to be in a position where you can say, I want to work on that. When you start, it's like a drug. You go on, and you think you're in balance. And then the next day is, oh my God, what do I have now? And you
We
have to go
also,
on.
as pranic healers, we also have this thing about, not just as pranic healers, there's any energy healer. There is this exchange of energy that needs to happen, to balance it.
Right.
So I think that helps you not feel as depleted. It's good for both people involved. That's what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yes, right.
Great.
Correct.
And is there a message that you would like to give out to people who are listening to you and watching you right now?
Well, a fun thing that people could think about is if you see quotes, just quotes everybody knows, just look through Facebook and see the quotes and think about, is that meant for the body, the soul, the mind, or the spirit? That's kind of practicing to differentiate, which is very, very important if you want to work fast and efficient on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's kind of fun too.
So could you give us an example of something like that?
Ooh, just give me a quote. I don't know. I had a collection of quotes, and I did
Okay.
that with
Okay,
people.
let me try and help you out here. My 2 cents. Um, when you're on a journey, you start walking and the path reveals itself.
When you're on a journey, you start walking, and the path reveals itself. Now, depending how you look on it, if you just physically look on it, I would put it to body level. But this, of course, is a kind of metaphor. And then I would put it to the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mind is challenged with this quote, right?
So true. Very true.
So as
Now,
soon as you understand, you're on your way.
right. Anya, thank you so very much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I
My
am
pleasure.
leaving this podcast feeling quite enlightened today with all
Wow.
this knowledge that you have just shared with me. And I am sure that a lot of people will try and get in touch with you to learn more about what you've just started talking about.
That's great, because I think the world needs the knowledge. I'm honored that you had me on your podcast. So very, very grateful. Thank you very
I'm
much for
very
having
grateful
me.
to you, Anya. Thank you so much. I am so grateful to you that you came today. I know that you've had a very hectic vacation, which you need to recover from now. But you
It's
made it.
okay.
And you still made time for this. And I really do appreciate this.
Okay, thank you, Nasira. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you. For everybody who's watching us and listening to us, that was Anya. And please do reach out to her. She has so much knowledge that she can share, and trauma, pain, whatever it is that you're going through, I think she may be able to help you to understand that at a very, very deep level. So yeah, just do reach out to her. This is the energy architect, Nasira. I'm signing off now. Thank you. Atma Namaste.